Okay, April the 29th of 2017, I am reporting this from Vitebsk. It's quite an interesting video, I deem to be. Do have lots of issues here to mention to you. Lots about what's happening in Eastern Europe. My views on the situation in Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, Poland, Hungary, entire Eastern Ukraine, of course Western Europe, and my country, United States of America. So it should be very interesting video, especially for let's just call this opposition in Russia, Belarus, and so on. I'll give you a little glimpse on my situation. We'll intermix that with really with the views, how I see it and what's happening, really in reality what the situation is and so on, and how, let's just put it that way, government involvement on behalf of the United States in this part of the world have affected me when overseas abductions took place. I'm going to talk about that, and I will specifically refer to who the people were, for the most part, that were involved in these operations, how these things happen, possibly even without government knowledge in certain countries. It's even possible that, even that's possible. Few things to go through first. Let me give you a little idea about my situation, my present situation. I am in Vitebsk right now. That is about 50 kilometers away from Russian border, right here in Belarus. Before that, I was in Minsk, that's the capital of Belarus. And before that in Ukraine, where I came from. Poland, after unsuccessful attempt to cross border to Belarus. As you know, at the main crossing point between Warsaw and Minsk, just not allowed to even approach Belarus border, thanks to European Union guards. They would not let me through. They would not allow me to even speak with Belarus border patrol, border crossing people, Belarus immigration. So I took the flight from Kiev to Minsk. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that in Poland, in Hungary, and obviously in Ukraine, due to war, due to Crimea, due to Donetsk and so on, so therefore we cannot talk really about the opposition. We can talk about opposition when it comes to, let's say, Belarus or Russia. That's when we can talk about the opposition. But my idea to talk to you about the opposition is, I just want to give you an idea how far this United States of America actually managed to penetrate into the, I wouldn't call this eastern part of the world. I would just say that, refer to this as a white countries located in eastern part of the world, because these countries are still white, Immigration here is not anywhere even close as evident as it is. Poland is still somehow. Hungary is getting bad. I don't know what's going to happen with Ukraine, to be honest. But if you go on the German side, and if you go to London and France and Italy and so on, believe me, I thought about it when I was here in Belarus. You know, the stuff that I have seen is taking place over there, and compared this with this place here. Truly, I am happy to be here, to be honest with you. It's, to me, it's really a peace of mind. Okay, it makes me feel good, and I really fear that makes me fear that this part of the world will become as corrupt and criminal and ugly as it is on the other side of the border with Poland. And I'm going toward Western Europe, because Western Europe have completely lost its face. It's becoming about the same as they have done to United States. And so I truly fear that something like this in the future could even be possible here. And if that's going to happen, it will happen thanks to so-called opposition. Well, this is the people that I'm going to talk a lot to you about. Like I said, they were very present through other countries, and they made themselves quite prominent, quite visible in my surroundings, also in Minsk and in Vitebsk. Okay, so now I'm not talking about governing position. I'm talking not talking about Lukashenko. I'm talking about pro-American, dissident, criminal circle is what I am talking about. I'm talking about people who are trying to take down national Belarus and Russian values. I'm talking about language, talking about population, talking about native population, of course, just trying to take down heritage and turn entire country into anarchy, so it can be destroyed even more. And I was, for good, a lot of time I have spent when here in Belarus, and I'm just here. Today is the 29th. I got here on April the 20th, 2017. Did not have any clue about how things are going to turn, what's going to be this and that. And so, whenever I come to a new place, I try to adjust my mind to that place. I try to grasp how things are, learn about people, understand surroundings, and my own past and so on, and how this relates to and so on. And so I did realize, that truly the people that Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America, that criminal network of Zionists, Zionist spies, there is no difference between them and between Mossad. I mean, when you're dealing with Central Intelligence Agency today, the difference between them and between Mossad is 0.none. There might be some good people in there, but for the most part, you are actually in trouble. Let's just put it that way. And they're gonna do damage to you on every step of the way, in a million ways, in every possible way you can imagine. And so I really, every time when I cross the border, when I get into new surroundings and so on, I really try to, inspect everything and get into psychological thinking, how, they use psychology to affect individuals and so on. And I can tell you that in Belarus already you have this dissidence network, this criminal network that cooperates with the system that is trying to do the same as they have already done in other countries throughout Europe. You have companies, you have, like, I'm searching actually for the job because I don't see the purpose in my staying and claiming political asylum for the rest of my life. I need a job and I need a wife and I need to move on. So the first thing I did, I started looking for the job, and the first thing that kicked me is that the jobs that are suggested for the foreigners, if you're coming from English-speaking country, otherwise I don't even know how you're going to get by here. I don't know if they speak any German here, whatever. And the jobs are, for the most part, like teaching kind of jobs, because for other professions, you really do not know knowledge of Russian. Russian is very prominent language. It can be used in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and so on. And so you already, when you start to look for that kind of job, English-speaking job, you already are on that black market, if you like. You're already going to step into the circle of people that, how can I say, are just really extended hands of the West. This is the kind of people that are willing to sell their own nations under pretense, under excuse that if they wouldn't have done it, somebody else would have done it, and then they use different kind of issues like freedom. I was suggested in Minsk, wherever I go, whether it is a hostel or it is where I'm right now, I get surrounded with opposition. The people related to United Nations, they have completely different type of mentality. Even if you would go into, I'm not going to say that all are bad. Okay, you have good people in United Nations. It's just many of them don't really know what's going on. Okay, they try to be neutral. They try to be, like police, like approach the situation individually and so on. I was received nicely here by few people from UN. Okay, unlike I was received, let's say, by UN people in Norway or I don't know, other countries, when basically they would not even talk to you about anything. They would tell you to take the plane and go to some other place and ask the UN to help you and stuff like that. I mean, pretty insane. So unlike other places, here I actually was somewhat welcomed by these people. But these people, regardless of that, they have that certain type of mentality that is adjusted to, more than anything, to I would say to educational system, okay, into surroundings where they grew up. Okay, now they were pumped with certain issues, like we all were in the school, throughout the school and so on, and they got into the circles, for whatever reasons. But certainly these people that I met here, these United Nations people, do not know the stuff that I have later on discussed with them. Okay, when I did discuss with them, they have learned a lot of stuff. They did not even know about certain countries that exist, and I give them an idea about what truly human rights are and what truly is happening, what truly is going on, and so on. And so you have different kind of people, but regardless of that, UN is extended hand of United States of America. Okay, United Nations receive, I think, about more than $2 billion per year from United States of America. Okay, you got an article right here that dates back to 2015, and it is coming from CNS News. Article states that United States of America pays to United Nations over $3 billion per year, which is more than 185 other countries together combined. And a quick reminder that truly is if not Israel, let's say, are Zionists and Israel together that control United Nations. United Nations truly is owned by US and controlled by Zionists. Let's just put it this way. So this is, I'm not going to say US-sponsored agency. This is Washington, D.C., okay? This is US Congress, US Senate owned agency, okay? This is not sponsored, this is owned agency, okay? So they want to write down something, if the US wants something to be written down by so-called United Nations, it's really unfair. I mean, United Nations does not represent views, real views of other countries. It's very impartial. It's very biased agency that simply have to go. It's simple as this. UN will do that. Okay, if the US wants something, even if they want to acknowledge certain country as, I don't know, whatever country, violator of the human rights, dictatorship, you name it, UN will do it. UN will comply. Okay, so when you got to take in consideration all this, you got to take in consideration opposition, you got to take in consideration UN, you got to be really aware of your surroundings, where you truly are, what really is happening. Okay, if you want to get real Belarus, or you want to get real Russia, then the first thing that you want to do is you want to get rid of that company, unwanted, undesired company that CIA have programmed and is using to give you entourage to wherever the hell you go. You know, those are pretty much low accommodation costs, hostels, you know, refugee, asylum facilities and so on. That's the kind of stuff you got to consider if you really want to stay neutral, if you really want to understand what is going on. This is not an easy job. Another thing is, this is the most heated part of the world. I mean, this is where the next door you have almost worse situation over there in Ukraine, and you have completely different, extremely, and again, it all depends what part of Ukraine. In some parts of Ukraine, you're gonna have pro-Russian, and in other parts of Ukraine, you're gonna have pro-American and so on type of mentality. So every country is very much divided, and that's what America is really good at. They get this opposition together, and or they start shit, or they even incite the opposite side to take portion of the land, like they did with Crimea. They're not taking any steps to get Crimea back when it was the time to take one back, but they started to hit instead the situation when it became crucial for them to hit one. Okay, when it became crucial for them to silence so-called free speech, when you have people like myself coming to Europe and trying to claim those basic rights, that basic protection to stay alive, that's when it becomes like really important for them. That's when they get really involved in that part of the world, and they start to hit the situation. They basically wake up population, you know, and they start with this shit, you know, inciting further in war and stuff like that. So that part of the country, or I said that part of the world, that country would not side with you, let's say. You know, even that Ukrainian people should really know that the only one that cares about them really are white people in the US. Nobody else is. Okay, this folk, you know, nations, cooperation with one another is so crucial that, unfortunately, I don't know how things are going to turn around, what way this whole thing is going to turn, because I was already suggested certain things, but it's crucial that on a long term, this, I believe, is going to bring the victory. But understanding that good things happen not between the politicians, for the people. but for the people, the good things happen only between the people. So when people cooperate, when people talk with people, when people sit at the same table with the people, that is basically when good things happen. Okay, the opposition is used in different kind of issues, as I have mentioned, and what they do is they create a crack into the system. They create a crack, and then what they do is they widen that crack. They make that crack wider, 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 until the whole system collapses down. And they do so by using so-called human rights issues. In Minsk, I was suggested issues like freedom. You don't want to be free. It's a freedom. And I quickly blocked that. I quickly respond to that individual suggesting there was 10,000 people in Minsk and the police was brutal, this and that. Let me explain something. I told him, let me explain to you something. I said, do you know what freedom is at all? Okay, and the guy started looking at me, like, freedom. I mean, well, freedom. First, if you want freedom, you have to understand what freedom is. So I asked him, I said, are you married? No, I'm not married. Do you have children? No, I don't have children. I said, well, okay, but what are you waiting for? I mean, freedom is actually your family. That's actually your wife and your child. That's what freedom is, what freedom should be for every normal person. When you come home and you see that beautiful wife, that really is the most beautiful thing in the world, and your child, you see yourself when you were small and you see the future in front of you, that will, your legacy that will go on, that is the freedom. The freedom is when you come out and you see your people, your kind of people, when you walk the streets and you see them and you speak with them, when you speak your language, when you go and you see your heritage, regardless of where you are, whether that's Germany, Poland, whatever you are, that is what freedom is. That's when you preserve your past, your heritage, something to be proud about, and you create the legacy that will continue to go on. And there are things we can even do better than that. That's what freedom is, okay? And so the guy was like, quiet about it. I said, and freedom is not what America is suggesting. What opposition really is trying for you to see as, and the opposition is pushing forward freedom issues. And for them, freedom issues are human rights issues, okay? Now we're going to go into the human rights issues. Human rights issues concern, in the United States of America, they're going to brainwash you also with the corporations, that US corporations that they use to crash the systems, to create bigger cracks and crash the systems. What they do is they use anti-discrimination policies, so-called equal employment opportunity policies and so on. And they talk to people, they lie to people about equality issues. They mention to people, freedom to sexual preferences, you can be gay or you not be gay, political views, the freedom of expression, political views, freedom to religion, freedom to wherever you want, all kinds of freedoms. And again, when I talk about these freedoms, again, it concerns United Nations. So now you can see how United Nations in the United States, I don't even know the word for this, but they embrace one another. It incorporates in one another. It's like bonds. However, this bond is completely based on lies. I mean, in United States of America, that is the biggest violator in the world. I continued, By the way, this opposition here, 10,000 people, I told him, I said, that's nothing. I mean, Belarus is 10 million people, it's not 10,000. Okay, but when you're a newcomer, when you come to this, countries, and you have this U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, and you have this opposition stalking you on every step of the way, making things impossible for you and making impression about certain country, that certain country is what in reality is not. For the most part, for 99.9% of the journalists, political activists and so on, they get the impression, you know, about the things that might not be such at all, you know. I see a lady out there, I don't know. So it's very important that you stay impartial, that you are very well aware of your surroundings, that you understand all of these issues, and there are millions of these issues anyhow. If you want really to have, you know, opinion that will matter to you, I mean, if nobody else. I think that if you have opinion only that matters to you, it won't matter anybody else, because that opinion is going to be very low anyhow. You got to work hard to get the idea about, and give people the idea about really what's going on. And so they use all these issues the same way, trying to make an impression about certain country that is not such at all, as they do in the US, let's say gay people, or Jehovah Witnesses, let's say religion. I mean, if you read the mainstream media by the Rothschild either owned or controlled mainstream media, you're gonna see that gay people are highly overrepresented. Okay, they are everywhere, at the front pages, everywhere they are. When I was in US, I was raped. I was unemployed, forcefully unemployed, but at the same time I would have all the time Jehovah Witnesses knocking on the door to me if I want to convert from Christianity, if I want to go from Catholicism, from Christianity to Jehovah Witnesses, okay? And I declined them, and you know, it was really, really violent to do that, to keep person unemployed, you know, at the same time knock on the door on his soul if he wants to convert himself, that they're going to help you and stuff like this. I mean, this is brutality that I never ever have lowered myself to and accepted some kind of you know, forceful, you know, rehabilitation, you know, of me as per somebody, you know, that somebody is just going to take me over like this. Millions of people, hundreds of million people, however, did. Okay, and I will not, even if they did, I will not. I will speak out the truth here for you, for everybody, and then it's going to be entirely up to you. You're going to take the hard way, the real way, stand up against this tyranny, or you can go with the flow if you want, and this flow is really going to nowhere. It's a road to hell, to nowhere. So it's very much related. It's very much the type of surroundings that I'm trying to give you an idea about really what's happening here. Okay, for the most part here in Belarus, I was not in Russia yet, but I'm sure Russia is no different. People are patriotic. They're patriotic. Belarus people love Belarus. They love it. They will not speak English with you. They will not speak English with you. So even if they know, they will not speak English with you because they fear you. They know what's really is happening. I think these people quite know a lot about really what is happening. They will decline. And the truth is that it's your duty as somebody that comes in the country, in new country, to learn. I would suggest you Russian, because Russian is bigger language than Belarus. But Belarus is 10 million and Russian is like 140, and then people in Ukraine communicate in Russian, and you have Belarus people and so on. So Russian language is, in my opinion, it's, well, I should say this is the route that I will take. I will try to learn this language as fast as possible, and I really don't have the right to suggest these people, how the hell you don't speak English and stuff like that. No, I mean, this is a very big language in this part of the world. It's one of the main languages in the world, And it's my duty, it's my being here, not to rehabilitate, to change these people, but instead to adjust myself to these people. And for that matter also, it might sound crazy when I mentioned I want to date this Belarus or Russian ladies that are patriotic. Now that's another problem, because my Russian is not too good, but the point here is that ladies that tend to speak English and so on already cosmopolitan, okay? And cosmopolitan is already against, based on what we see today is taking place in London, Paris, Berlin, and so on, it is definitely anti our culture. Okay, so that's not who I want to date. I definitely don't want to date American ladies in, I don't know, Poland or Belarus. What the case was with the Poland I got, or Hungary, I got ladies over there from United States. All of a sudden appear beautiful, very beautiful models. I would not even smell them, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I was in the US for 13 years and I haven't seen those ladies. What the hell are they doing over there in Poland and Hungary and so on? Definitely not gonna smell them here. Okay, that's that. So that's the type of stuff that you may want to think about if you ever do immigrate here. You are the one, you came here to change things for better. Whatever your reason might be. In my case, there are many, many reasons, and so I am the one. I have to adjust myself, and I gladly do accept all this and adjust myself to these things. I wouldn't be here, when they asked me about, you like Lukashenko? I said, yes, I do. But why do you like him? I said, well, because if it was not for him, I would not even be here, because if this would be European Union, I would obviously not have a place where I could even complain about anything or anybody. That's what the case is with European Union. Whether you're American citizen or European Union member state citizen, you're not even allowed to file for political asylum on the territory of European Union, and they're going to even steal your car and harass you, intimidate you, damage your belongings, your luggage in low-cost accommodations that are run by Central Intelligence Agency or by them related companies. You see what I'm saying? So yes, I do. I have to say that yes, I do. I support these people. I literally support Lukashenko. I literally do. And I have to say that from what I have seen about this opposition here, I have to say that I dislike one. Okay, my view on the opposition here is that they are using this option. Certain people that are top people are using this option to promote their own well-being, their own state of wealth, money, business, and the people that support them, they always stay on the bottom. They don't go anywhere. That's a road to nowhere. They're just meat. Okay, they become just wasted after a while. Bitter people that serve foreign interests that are really taken to nowhere. Now, I do feel that opposition is necessary, but not the kind of opposition that we have going in these parts of the world now. I believe that opposition is necessary because I believe in this. I believe in God. I am religious. I believe in national values, and I believe that options that support this type of values are necessary. However, I'm going to repeat this to you, that opposition that I see around me that's not the opposition I want to have truly anything to do with. This is the opposition that is controlled opposition, and it's not controlled by Belarus or Russian governments, but it's actually US controlled opposition. That for me is a no-no. I'm going to tell you like this, okay? As simple as this. I was in US, you have seen what US does. United States of America is the #1 violator of the human rights. United States of America, this is where families are split apart, turned against one another. This is where children are taught to hate their parents, to press charges against their parents, to, just for a little small things that parent could maybe even do mistake and do something stupid or something, but the next thing you see is parents are sent to jail, on the courts and so on. I think these things have gone too far, and in many cases things did not go far enough, because there are many cases that the government is using to build an idea in people just how important it is to have this type of legal system that in a parenthesis protects children from parents and so on. So it's always, every case is really individual. It's every case is different, so it's so important. But in the US, from what I have seen, I have read some really bizarre stories about how parents were attacked for many little petty things that really should not be the case. I mean, you got parents now over there fearing to be a real parent. Okay, so you have all kinds of issues, and it's all called anarchy. The US governs the world with anarchy. They're using the anarchy in the US, and they're using the one abroad to control the situation, to destroy societies, to turn us against one another, not only families in the US and so on, but to turn us against one another, something I already have spoken about. In the US, where so-called human rights, the land of the brave and free, the country that is so, where human rights are so important, the country that is based on human rights, land of the free, brave and free, the system is so insane, so crazy. It's, my God, it's crazier than Kim Jong of North Korea. That is the craziest country in the world. That is the most insane criminal country that ever existed in this world, and is not run by American people, but instead by Zionist elites that are related to what I have just stated and the state of Israel. I mean, this is the country where people, not that I have mentioned earlier, the right to religion, the right to political views and so on. Not only that people don't have the right to these issues, people don't even have the right to sexual preferences. I mean, look at what have just happened over there in Los Angeles airport with a 8-year-old boy that was molested by this TSA worker. And he's not the only one. There are so many other also grown-ups that US government have done the same thing to them.
Use of emergency democracy is strictly prohibited. Nora's arms are active and monitored by DFW police. Violators will be subject to arrest and prosecution. Please use authorized exits only.
I mean, they literally molest and molest and molest people already since childhood, since they're little, to turn them into a dissidents. Dissident is, and I guarantee you that, if you don't believe me, go to United States of America. I lived there for 13 years. One thing I could never understand when I was in the US is fact that every American I met hates US government. Everyone hates it. And the US government is not shy of that. I mean, if you look at the YouTube or you look whatever the hell you want to look, everybody is talking about, US government this, US government that, US government this and that. But the point here is that the US government wants that, because once you become a dissident, you can be destroyed very easily. That's one of the things. You're nothing more than a dissident. And the second thing is that children get already rehabilitated, changed already as a children, as a 7-8 years olds. They get molested in the school by the teachers, by the system. The system harasses them, and they are brainwashed to complain. And even if you go everywhere you go in America today, when you go to JCPenney, you go to Kmart, Walmart, you go on job, you have everywhere they suggest you to complain. You want to file the complaint. Do you want to file the complaint? They want you to know how you rated at the service. All these things, however, I'm gonna explain to you how all that stuff relates. When you complain and nothing is ever done, and you continue to complain and nothing is ever done, you know, that's like somebody's doing this to you. You turn yourself into a gay. You actually lose your sexual preference. This is really a recipe to turn one into something else, either dissident or gay or whatever. And so when it comes to this basic issue, basic rights, you know, United States of America is the biggest violator of the human rights. Don't talk to me about, I don't know, Afghanistan or Iraq or about other countries that they have done the massacre over there. In United States of America, people are enslaved. Own American people. If you go to US, American people are like slaves. It's like a labor camp. It's like they squeeze them completely. Look, no health insurance, affordable health insurance. Now they have this some kind of Obamacare or whatever. When I was in the US, I have spent 13 years without any insurance because I could never afford one. I could never go to doctor. I could never go to hospital. Could never go any place. I worked 24 hours straight sometimes to pay the bills whenever I had the opportunity. Even this I did. At the end of the month, however, I did not even have for the nothing. I was not left with anything, and so on. So, you know, when you want to talk to me about these things, about this human rights issues and stuff like that, and this is my message to this opposition here, you know, please consider these things, you know. I hear people with issues like Belarus not good for the money, Russia not, you can make money, this and that. Well, you know, what really matters is what is known as a quality of life. I mean, if you get those basic necessities, and people have those basic necessities, they are compared to the US very much worry-free. In the US, people are stressed like shit. They worry about credit cards, they worry about, you know, million things. Here, nobody mentions these things. People are still worry-free, but, you know, they just, how can I say, it's difficult. It's difficult for them to understand that because they don't know that other side of the world. So, yes, please consider these things when you talk about America, you know. Then I have the individual here, he told me, he just went out, he talked to me about, cried to me about Tajikistan, I think, that they would not pay him, then Russia again bad, and so on, and this and that. How he worked over there in Tajikistan, they wouldn't pay him, this and that. Look, I worked in America a lot, haven't been paid for months in labor. In the United States of America, you cannot even go to unemployment agency and say, hey man, this employer, I worked over there so many and so many hours, they don't want to pay me. They have some kind of a compensation department or something like that, but for the most part, that compensation departments supports criminality, they supports corruption, they support so-called employers that are robbing, ripping off people. Go and try car sales like I did, and you're gonna make sales like I did a lot. I made a lot of sales, sold a lot of cars. In the end, not only that I didn't get my hours paid because I worked my ass, I don't know how many hours per week I worked. I got like, they calculated you a minimum pay, and they give you, they just gave you, they gave you half of the hours that you work, and this is what the state gave you, and this is what the employer then paid you. And so they lie, they steal, they kill, they do damage. When you're really requesting about human rights issue, when you try to report human rights violations committed by United States of America, man, all these agencies, they want to cut your throat. Go to the US, go and work as a receptionist, security officer, go as a truck driver, whatever the hell you want to do. They all lie, they all steal, they are thieves. They're not going to pay you the mileage, they're not going to pay you kilometers. They want you to cheat, they want you to lie, they want you to write down the wrong numbers, the times that you slept and you didn't sleep so you can drive more, so you never get paid. Go see it. They want you to go to work in Target Corporation. I worked there as a part-time. They're gonna lie, they're gonna steal, they're gonna tell you, they're gonna try to cheat you, they're gonna delete hours, they're not gonna pay you the hours that you work, and so on. Look, I'm just saying, the biggest corporations, I don't even know, look, how much they have stolen money to me like this throughout this 13 years. And I'm not going to even go into other issues. I'm just giving you an idea about, if you want to complain to me about something that you had problem with, and I'm talking about Tajikistan, whatever country you are from, okay, if you want to talk to me about these things, I'm going to tell you only this thing. All these things that I have talked about, did not happen to you first. These things have happened to me before that happened to you, because the independence, I was in the US before you got your independence, and you know that when you were not independent, your salary, even if it was a small salary, okay, you got one at the end of the month. They did pay you. The state did give you that check, or your employer, whoever, they did give you the check because you had the law. I don't know country, Poland, Russia, Tajikistan, whatever country, Ukraine, whatever country, even if they said you're going to get $100 for the work performed, you get your $100. And if somebody tried to steal the money from you, and you went and you reported that employer, whatever, chief, boss, whatever, he got in trouble with the state. Okay, so all this shit that you want to talk to me, you want to talk to me about the drugs, you want to talk to me about they don't pay you the salary, all these things, all this shit is coming from United States of America. Crisis in Ukraine, economic problems right here that you have in this part of the world here. If we can even say that things change at all in eastern part of Europe, question is how much did really these things change for this part of the world. All this shit is created by United States of America. So yeah, I don't know how much you like my message today. I don't know how much you like it, but this is how I see things. This basically is how I see it. Okay, so if, or I should say till our people, okay, till our people in the US, white people, are not going to have the right to free speech. And let me repeat to you, it's white people that really care about you. Nobody else cares about you. Others want you gone. And I don't care where you are. You can be Poland, Hungary, Russia, whatever the hell you are. They hate your guts. Till we're not gonna have the right to free speech, you know, to claim that basic right, you know, the protection in another country, in a foreign country, white country, logically. In this case, when you have the issue with racial issues and stuff like that, obviously that you're not going to go to a non-white country. Till that's going to take place, you're all going to be affected. And it really doesn't matter whether you're in Ukraine, whether you are in Poland or Russia, whatever the hell you are, till the freedom, the real freedom of speech is not going to be granted, which already, by the way, is written on the paper, on the Constitution, First Amendment. Every American has the right to free speech. Till that really is going to become real, actual, till we're really going to have that right to free speech, things for you in Europe, whatever the hell you are not going to go well, because the Zionists will continue to control the system. It was suggested that Benjamin Netanyahu is crazy. No, Benjamin Netanyahu is not crazy. This man is very, very smart. He's very, very intelligent. Israel have control over not only United States of America, but thanks to United States of America, thanks to American people that are enslaved, that are ripped, that are squeezed, they squeeze blood from the people. They take from the people absolutely everything. It's a total slavery. So they can be technologically a little bit more advanced, and they use that advantage to control other countries as well. Till that's going to stay the case, and we're not going to even have, you know, the right to free speech in another white country, nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to go for better for you, you know, whatever the hell you are. American people need your help, and you need help from American people. And so, you know, I see this as that we're all in it together, you know, that we need one another. We need to cooperate with one another. And for that matter, I'm calling the opposition. If you really are the opposition, if you really care about the Belarus people, if you really care about the Russian people, if you really care about your people, if you are the opposition, not controlled by United States of America, please step together with your main party, with your leadership, and form together coalition that is going to support your people. Be a patriot, whatever the hell you are. That's the only thing that I am asking for. So, you know, we start to support one another. We start to, instead to work against one another, we start to work together with one another. We sit at the same table and we form the table that is going to be from United States across the Europe and Russia, and we end these conflicts and we make the step further that is going to lead to prosperity, something that the children, you know, going to have something they will be able to build upon and build and continue to build and build future that is going to be not the future like today based on arms competition, you know, how we're going to annihilate one another and stuff like this, but instead the opposite. We're going to help one another. Okay, don't forget what's happening right now in South Africa. Don't forget white minority in South Africa, how much they are crying for help, how much they need help. Or you, whatever the hell you are, and it doesn't matter whether you're in US or any European country or Russia, you one day, sooner than not, will become just like they are today. And they today are already almost strangers in their own land, because it was white South African people that have built South Africa from 0 point nothing. They brought the civilization, they built the civilization, civilization gave jobs to the blacks who have moved to that area. Today, however, these people who have built their own country are not even welcome in their own country. Today, whites, 90,000 of them are murdered within the last 23 years. Million of them basically are stationed in white concentration camps. They're no longer welcome in their own country. And that's exactly almost already is the case. Look at me, born in Slovenia, doesn't have the right to be there. United States of America, oh, we don't want you here anymore. So, not even the citizen, you know, they're throwing us basically out of our own countries already. So imagine what the hell this is going to grow into if we don't step together, if we don't form our own coalition, our own bond that is going to, we start to support one another, that we start to build with one another world that is going to benefit us and our children. All right. That's all I wanted to say for today. Today is April the 29th, 2017. Maybe a little bit confusing back and forth here and there, but yeah, this is my 9th day here in Belarus. I got my thoughts well together. I have thought about thoroughly about these things. Basically, it's how I see it. And you will grasp. I don't know, maybe you may want to go over this video, whatever you're going to do, but eventually it's going to get to you. Eventually it's going to get to you. It will sit in your head and you will start to understand that we have future together. We have future together. It's something that we have to continue to build. We had the history, painful history, and it should be something that we should learn from, so we could benefit one another, not work against one another, but help one another, benefit from one another, whether it is Victory Square here in Minsk or Vitebsk or whatever, or it is some other square, I don't know, in America or whatever it is, whatever square it is, we have more in common. We have more in common than just, you know, the political views, the conflicts, the things that have divided us. So we have to work together and we have to improve things for us. Okay, this is all I wanted to say today. Have a good